chapter 6. Chapter 6 only has four lessons. That is all. And lesson 1 is super easy. And so this should be a real quick video just showing you, because I'm pretty sure you've probably done this before. The whole chapter is about transformations. There are 4 types of transformations. We can transform a figure by translating it, by reflecting it, by rotating it, and by dilating it. Today we are just translating it. Here's an example of a translation. A couple things I want to point out. The pre-image, the one they start with, the one they give, is the one that does not have the apostrophe. The image after you translate it is the one where they use the same letters, but then they put an apostrophe, and I'm going to refer to that as prime. So just a couple of your terms for your vocab sheet that hopefully you picked up or you can get later. A transformation is an operation that maps an original geometric figure. It maps it. So the pre-image is the one that you start with. Prefix pre, you guys know that, the one that comes first. And then after you translate it today or transform it in another way, it's called the image. Okay? Translations are the most basic transformation because it is simply what we referred to it in probably when you were younger as a slide. Okay, so the orientation of the actual figure doesn't change. It's going to look in the same orientation. So they don't turn it, they don't flip it, they don't move it around like that. It is simply taken from one place to another by sliding it. Okay, so when they slide it, they're going to talk about how the X changes and how the Y changes. So if we look specifically at the one vertex, maybe C, the original C was at 4, 0. Right here, 4, 0, and now it's at 1, -2. So when we move it, it's a matter of how we change the X or the Y. Not only did we move it 1, 2, 3 to the left and down 2. So remember, left and right is X and up and down is Y. So the notation for how we move it, that's the hardest part of today. You know, in this case, if I'm moving left, that's subtracting. To the right is adding. Up is obviously adding, and down is subtracting. So it's actually going to be X -3, Y -2, because that's how we moved it. All right, let's practice this. The other thing we need to reference is that in a translation, the actual figure is, the image is congruent to the pre-image. It's the exact same size and the exact same shape. Okay, so the types of questions they will ask you to do, this is the first type of question, pretty basic. It's going to ask you to first graph an original, and you will have to do that and label it. And then it will ask you to graph the image after a translation, and this one gives you 2 units right, 5 units down. So if I were you, I would go 2 units right, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. There's your next one. Label it L prime. 2 units right, 5 units down, J prime. 2 U right, 5 down, K prime. And label both of them. I cannot tell you how important it is to label both of them, and then write the coordinates. So when you write the coordinates, you are including the little apostrophe, the prime. Okay, so let's try one from ground zero, shall we? Here's an example. Slide 4 already. Graph ABC, where's vertices? There they are. So let's plot that first. Then we're going to graph its image after the translation, and then we're going to write the new coordinates. Okay, so A is at 4, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry, and -3. 1, 2, 3. That is A. This is the pre-image. B is at 0, 2, 0, 2. That's B. And C is at 5, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. There is C. Now, it probably would have been good if I had a straight edge, but I'm just going to do the best that I can. Ooh, that was pretty good, I gotta say. Okay, now translate it 4 left, and 3 up. Now, I just go from each point. So if I start at A, 4 left, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3 up. And there, look at that, A, which I'm going to label A prime with the apostrophes at 0, 0. Okay, go to B, 4 left, 3 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, oops, I lost my track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. There is B prime. And the last one, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And occasionally, and here's the case here, our new image or our image kind of overlaps a little bit our pre-image. But that's fine. Now I have to give the new ordered pairs. So I'm going to go over here. A prime is 0, 0. It's right smack dab on the origin. B prime is at negative 4, positive 5. And C prime is at 1, positive 1, positive 4. And that's what you'll have to do. Okay, turn this sheet over real quick. Here, talking about translation notation. If we're moving left or right, that affects the x coordinate. Kind of already talked about this. When you move left, you subtract from the x. If you're moving right, you add to the x. Up or down changes the y. When you move down, you subtract from the y, and when you move up, you add to the y. So over here, here's an example of a question where they say, hey, here are the original vertices, and then you could actually use that information to find the new vertices before you graph them instead of counting it on a paper. Or maybe you don't have graph paper and it just says find the coordinates. You can do that. 2 left would be -2 from the x, and 1 up would be y plus 1. So you can just simply take and subtract 2 from the x's and add 1 to the y, which is how they got there. Subtract 2 is -3, add 1 is -1, and so on and so forth. You can do that. All right, so let's do that down here on slide number 7. It says ABCD, quadrilateral, 4 sides, 4 angles, has these vertices. Find the vertices of quadrilateral ABCD after you translate it 4 to the right and 2 down. Well, 4 right means I'm taking the x and adding 4, and 2 down means I'm taking the y and subtracting 2. So from all the x's I'm adding, or all the x's I'm adding 4, all the y's I'm subtracting 2. So my A prime, add 4, that's 4, subtract 2, -2. Pretty simple when it starts at 0, 0. B prime, add 4 to the x, that'd be 6, subtract 2 to the y, -2. C prime, add 4 to the x, that's 7, subtract 2 from the y, that's 2. And D prime, add 4 to the x, 4, subtract 2 from the y, 2. So we can do it without graphing. However, if the question asks you to graph, you need to make sure you do that. All right, one last example on slide number 8, and then you are free to work. It's giving you a picture, and it's asking you to describe the movement using translation notation. So A ends up where B is. So that would be right here. This is where B is. So basically they're going left 1 and down 2. Remember, if we're going left, we're subtracting. So x minus 1 and y down 2. And there is our notation for our translation. All right, so you have a homework assignment. It should be a pink sheet of paper looking like this. The first 4, it just has you translate it. Notice there's not even an origin, so you can't give units. You're just translating it, and make sure you're labeling it with the proper notation. So if I'm going 3 units right, 2 units up, 1, 2, 3, and then up here is going to be B prime. We must label them. Okay, then down here, 5 and 6 are like the ones we did. They're going to give you 1, 2, 3 things to graph, then they tell you to translate it, then you give the ordered pairs for the new one. All right, number 7 is kind of a word problem, and numbers 8 through 13 on the back are kind of word problems as well, but you're really just finding ordered pairs and such. Just a little clarification on number 8 and 9, both relate to this original figure, the pre-image. So in number 8, it wants you to take this image, translate it 2 right and 3 up. And then in number 9, take the original image, the pre-image, not the one you changed, go back to the original image and go 1 left and 4 up. So we're not translating the translation, just so you know. Okay, same thing for 10 and 11. Good luck. See you later.